The dispatcher was already mid-sentence when it came through. Caller won't give a name, hung up after repeating the location twice. I had one hand on the wheel, easing along a service road that barely deserved the name. Ellis reached over and bumped the volume up. Dispatch came back, quieter this time. He said, "It's not buried deep, like they wanted it found." Ellis snorted. People say weird stuff when they're trying to sound important. I didn't answer. I was stuck on that line. Not buried deep, like they wanted it found. That wasn't how you describe something misplaced. That sounded like intent. "Repeat the coordinates," I said. Dispatch did. No hesitation in her voice either. Clean numbers, clean landmarks. Caller sounded calm, I asked. "Yeah," she said, "not panicked, just done." Ellis glanced at me. Done with what? I turned off the road toward the tree line. Let's go see what he left us. We were in a stretch of public land that didn't get casual traffic. No marked trails, no signage. If you ended up out there, it was because you meant to. Mostly hunters, sometimes people who didn't want to run into anyone else. The landmarks lined up fast, too fast. A split granite outcrop, a downed tree angled like a broken fence. I'd seen enough of this terrain to know when someone was guessing. This wasn't guessing. He knew exactly where he was, I said. Ellis adjusted the strap on his pack, where he dropped a pin. "Not out here," I said. "Service is dead." We hiked the last stretch on foot. Pine needles, soft ground, good for reading sign. I slowed without thinking, scanning. "You see anything?" Ellis asked. "No, that's the problem." The bag was exactly where it should have been, just off a faint game trail, not hidden, not exposed, covered with a thin scatter of needles like someone had tried to make it look accidental and stopped halfway through. It was a black contractor garbage bag, one of the big thick ones, tied loose. Ellis let out a quiet breath. "Well, there it is." I didn't move right away. I walked a slow circle around it. "There's no tracks," I said. Ellis stepped wider, checking the perimeter. "Ground's soft. We'd see something." We saw our tracks, fresh and clear, but nothing else. No approach, no exit, no drag marks, no broken pattern. "You think it's older?" he asked. I shook my head. The needles aren't settled. This is recent." He looked back at the bag. "So how does it get here?" I didn't answer. I was already crouching. For a second, I had the feeling that this part had been planned. Not just the placement, the discovery. "Go ahead," Ellis said. I pulled the knot loose. It came apart too easily. Inside were clothes. Not stuffed, not tangled, but folded. Jeans, a sweatshirt, underwear laid flat. On top, a pair of shoes placed side by side. Clean soles. Ellis leaned in, looking at the shoes. "Those didn't walk out here." "No," I said. I checked the pockets. They were empty. There was no wallet, no ID, no keys. No smell either. No rot, no chemical cover, just fabric. "This isn't someone ditching stuff," Ellis said. I held up one of the shoes. "Look at this. There's no dirt in the tread. No wear at all from hiking." He frowned. "Well, so what? They carried it in?" "And then where are the tracks?" He didn't answer that. Instead, he pointed past me. "Hey, there's another one." A second bag, same type, about 10 yards away. Far enough that you wouldn't notice it unless you were already focused on the first. "That's deliberate," he said. Ellis nodded once. "Yeah." We approached it slower. I checked the ground again. Same story. Nothing in, nothing out. I stepped back and walked the approach again, slower this time. Heel to toe. watching how my own weight disturbed the ground. Stay where you are, I said. Ellis stopped moving. What are you seeing? I want to see if we missed overlap. I circled wider, 15 feet, 20. The forest floor stayed clean in a way that didn't make sense. Even old movement leaves something. Compression, scuffing, a broken pattern in the needles. There was none. I crouched near a patch of exposed soil and pressed my thumb into it. I took the impression easily. The ground would hold tracks here, I said. Ellis looked around again, slower now. Unless they came in on rock. There's no continuous rock path, though, he said, and even then, you'd see an entry and exit somewhere. He didn't argue. I stood up and looked at the bag again. Not hidden, not protected from animals, not weighted down. Placed, just enough to be found. Feels like it was set after the fact, Ellis said. After what? He didn't answer. Neither did I. Open it up, he said. This one was heavier. Inside, more clothes, different sizes, mixed. A smaller shirt, a heavier jacket that wouldn't fit the same person as the first set. Some of this was damp. I pressed a sleeve between my fingers. Cool, not soaked, and there was no source for it. It hasn't rained, Ellis said. I know. He picked up a button down and flipped the collar. There's a name tag that used to be here. The stitching had been clean cut, not torn out, but removed carefully, like with scissors. Why take the name and leave the shirt, he said. I looked at both bags. Nothing looked discarded, nothing looked rushed. Everything was placed. I checked my watch without thinking. We'd been on site less than 15 minutes. It felt lots longer. Let's mark the perimeter, Ellis said. I nodded, but I didn't move right away. Something about the spacing bothered me. I paced out between the two bags, roughly 10 yards. Not random, close enough to connect, far enough that you'd miss one if you weren't already looking for more. Stand by the first one, I said. Ellis walked back and stopped beside it. All right. I moved to the second one and turned, lining them up. From where I stood, the first bag sat just off his right shoulder, visible, but only if you were oriented. If you came in from that direction, I said, pointing past him, you'd hit the first one and probably stop. Ellis nodded. Yeah. You wouldn't keep pushing unless you had a reason. He looked at the second bag at my feet and back at me. You think we were meant to find one, he said, and not the other? I didn't answer right away. I was thinking about the caller's voice, how flat it had been, how certain. He told us just enough, I said. Ellis held my gaze for a second, then looked out into the trees behind me. Yeah, he said quietly, that's what I don't like. We stood there longer than we should have, not talking much, just looking, waiting for something to make sense on its own. It didn't. I keyed the radio and gave dispatch a brief. Location confirmed, multiple items, no immediate signs of a struggle. Copy, she said. Advise if you expand the search. I let go of the button, but didn't answer right away. Ellis watched me. Do you want us to push out further? I looked at the tree line beyond the bags. Dense, quiet, no natural path pulling you at all that way. Then I looked back at the bags. You only mentioned one, I said. Ellis followed my gaze. Yeah. If you wanted this found, I said, why not say there were two? Ellis shifted his weight. Maybe you didn't know. I shook my head. He knew the exact spot. He knew how it was covered. He knew enough to say it wasn't buried deep. I paused. He chose what to tell us. Ellis didn't respond. I looked out past the second bag again, tried to picture someone standing where we were, deciding what mattered, what to include, what to leave out. Call it in, Ellis said quietly. I nodded, but I didn't take my eyes off the tree line. Because if someone wanted something found, and they were that precise about it, then it wasn't just about showing us where to look. It was about controlling how far we were willing to go.